Hello everyone, hope you are well. So I always seem to sit in Isla's room to do like chatty videos. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's just easy to put my camera up there. My room's a bit like claustrophobic at the moment because we've still got the bedside cot. There's not much room, so I always come in here, and this is actually my favourite room in the house now. So anyway, I digress. This is going to be a little video kind of just talking about going back to work after having 2 kids, obviously not both at the same time, but yeah, it's just a bit of a different ball game for some reason going back second time than first time. First time round, my situation was I'd left my job that I got pregnant with Isla in, if you know what I mean, not like actually pregnant at my job, but you know what I mean, the job I was doing, because we'd moved to Portsmouth, so I had to leave. I couldn't keep commuting back up to London, obviously. So if Isla was a different situation, I'd found a new job when she was around 8 months old. Put her into full-time nursery, didn't know the nursery, knew like a couple of friends that worked there but didn't know how it all worked, didn't know how she'd get on, didn't know the people there, and this, that and the other. So there was a lot of anxiety surrounding that side of it, like whether I'd made the right choice choosing a nursery instead of a childminder. We obviously have no family around here, so we didn't have that option, but yeah, or a nanny. Just kind of being really worried that I hadn't made the right decision and just being really scared about her just being in there by herself. But Isla is the most independent little thing, and she has been since like she was holding her own bottle at like 5 months or something ridiculous. So she's never been a baby that particularly needs me, or not wants me, that's the wrong word to say, like we obviously love each other and whatever, but yeah, she's never really needed me. So there was a lot of anxiety surrounding the nursery situation, and the fact that it was a completely new job, full-time as well, so 37.5 hours in a different industry I'd never worked in. I'd gone from fashion to aerospace, and yeah, there was just, it was a bit of a whirlwind and a bit like but I was more than ready to go back to work. Like, I loved being a mum, but I just couldn't do it all day every day. And I laugh now. I look back at like having Isla and I was like, I really thought it was hard. Like, what was I thinking? Like, I was living the dream back then. But anyway, I wasn't cut out for being a stay-at-home mum. I still am not at all. The dream would be part-time, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So this time round, I went on maternity leave from my job when I was about 36 weeks pregnant, something like that. I think I had a week's holiday, so an hour's holiday, that is not correct. A week's holiday to take as well. And yeah, I went on maternity leave for almost 9 months. Yeah, 9 months. And was in a very fortunate situation to be fully paid throughout, which will cause uproar amongst anyone who watches this in America, and I'm really sorry because I know your situation there is really bad and not fair. I've heard so many stories, and people have messaged me when I've mentioned my maternity leave in the past about how they've had to go back to work when their baby's just a few weeks old, and I just think it's horrendous. Like, unless you're fine with it, then fine, like good on you, but it just seems so like so hard, so very hard. And then here in the UK we feel cheated because we don't get like the 2 years that Scandinavia get or whatever. But no, I've been in a very fortunate situation, and I cannot praise the company I work for enough because they've done so much. Like, when I was pregnant, they were amazing about appointments. I was admitted to hospital for almost 2 weeks. They were so chilled about it. They were so supportive. Then I was on bed rest and I was trying to work from home, and they stopped me and they were like, no, don't work, like just, you need to take it easy. And they've just been so lovely and so good. And then obviously got this very good maternity leave, have come to the end of it, and I've not really needed to have keeping in touch days or anything like that because I know everyone I work with very well. They're my friends, and there's a very open situation and a very open dialogue about like what's going on at work, and we've met up for lunch and we've gone on nights out and stuff like that. So I was going to go into work today actually to catch up. I spoke to my boss yesterday and he was like, oh, I'll pop in next week for a cup of tea or something, but don't worry about like officially coming back in until you start back, which is, we think, next week or maybe the Monday after. So this time round it's a really strange situation because I know the job I'm going back to, so there's no anxiety there. Lachlan's gone into the same nursery Isla's in, so no problems there. He's got one of my favourite key people that Isla had back in the day. He's got this time round, and she's just the best, and she's so lovely with him and he loves her and he's getting on so well. What we've done is we've put him in what I thought was the week before I started work, but it's actually going to be a little bit longer, just to settle him in, whereas like I'm still around if there was any big issues, and I feel like it eases my mind as well. And then on the other side with the breastfeeding, I've had to like obviously switch to combi feeding, so I didn't really want to be at work like really like sore and horrible. Like, I wanted to give myself a week or so to just adjust and sort everything out so I can go back to work and be hopefully quite normal. So yeah, there's no anxiety with the job and going back to work, and no anxiety around nursery and that. But Lachlan is just a completely different baby from Isla. I've had a horrendous maternity leave, like really, really, really bad. I love him so much, but it's more like a very intense relationship compared to me and Isla, because he has just been so needy and clingy since day one. And he's had all sorts of issues with silent reflux and cow's milk protein allergy, and obviously I've been breastfeeding him, I formula fed Isla, and it's just been a very different situation. I can hand on my heart say that I've probably not enjoyed about 75% of my maternity leave, and I feel very cheated out of it, because I've at some point spent days, weeks, months on end just with a baby that just screams and screams and screams and doesn't stop. It's like, if you've ever experienced colic, try that times about 10 all day every day as opposed to like a few hours in the evening, and it just wears you down emotionally, like really emotionally. And I like to think I am quite a strong person, but it's yeah, character building and awful. So mine and Laxon's relationship is more intense, like I said, and the whole going back to work and everything like that, it's been a really strange situation putting him into nursery and giving him to someone else. He is fine, he is very, very clingy, but not particularly clingy to me. He just needs somebody at all times, 24/7. And when you're in the house by yourself and your husband's away for months on end and you're trying to work, because I'm obviously do this on the side, my blog and my YouTube, but it's a full-time job. I'm trying to work, I'm trying to keep a clean house, I'm trying to cook, I'm trying to look after Isla, I'm trying to have a life, see friends, do washing, clean. And when you have a baby that literally you cannot turn your back on without them screaming as if you've hit them in the face, like it's not just a cry, it is a shriek, like it hurts your eardrums, and he'll go and go and go. There's no stopping with him, there's no letting him cry it out. That does not work with Lachlan. He will happily go for half an hour, and he will just keep going. I don't know where he gets the stamina, to be honest, but yeah, he's just been a really, really hard baby. And I know at nursery he'll be completely fine because he's always got someone, and there's always someone holding him or playing with him, because that's what they're paid to do, and it's so lovely that they can do that and give them their all. But at home you just can't, you really can't, as much as you'd love to. It's just not feasible. So I know he'll be fine at nursery and he's loving it, and it's not that, it's just letting go of him, because as hard as it's been, I feel like we've been on this journey together, and all of a sudden he's not here, and it's just really strange. And I just feel this really massive just urge all the time to like just go and grab him and hug him. And they're all like, he's so huggy, he's so lovely. He's not to me. Like, even when I want to hug him and I hold him, he like scratches my face and like bites me and tries to latch on to every part of my body and pulls my hair. And but to other people he like puts his arms around their neck and it's like ah. But with me, nah, he like just treats me like rubbish. So yeah, it's just really strange. It's really strange to think that that's it. That was our maternity leave. That was our time together, and probably the only time we will get together like that ever, really. And it's just hard to think that it was so hard and I didn't enjoy a lot of it. And yeah, and it's been hard with Rob being away. It's been hard, don't get upset, not having family around, and just, yeah, just feel really cheated, really, really cheated. But I'm very excited. I'm excited at the future. I'm excited at him developing and loving life, because Isla came on so much when she went to nursery, and he is already, he's only been there a few days, and all of a sudden he's gone from almost sitting to trying to crawl. So it's great, but I just love him and I miss him, and I really, really miss him and Isla together. And I know we've got the weekends, and I know there'll be other times which I'll talk about in a minute, but having those days with them where it's the two of them, I feel this complete guilt at separating them, because they're obviously at the same nursery but they're in completely different bits. And I think Isla can go down and see him, but it's not like, it's just not the same. It's really not the same, and I feel so guilty that I can't just give them to my mum one day a week and they're together, or have them a childminder, which I could do, I guess, but it's just not been what we've done. And I just have this really weird guilt that I wasn't expecting, that I'm separating them already, and it's just rubbish. But on the flip side, I am excited to go back to work. It is my choice. It's a lifestyle we want to lead. I couldn't be at home all the time. I could do part-time. But yeah, that brings me on to my other little bit of news. So yeah, I work 37.5 hours, 8 to 5 Monday to Thursday, and 8 to 1/2 on a Friday. But now, because my vlog and my YouTube channel are taking up so much of my time, and I'm sick of staying up till midnight, 1 in the morning. I'm sick of not seeing my husband when he's back from sea, because I have to sit in one room on my computer and he's in another room doing whatever it is. So I have asked to not work Thursdays at my job, and they've agreed. Hey! yay. So yeah, I do feel guilty because I think everybody thinks I'm doing it to have the kids at home, but I'm doing it so that I can manage our life a little bit better. I'm doing it so I can get so much done on a Thursday that I am not having to stay up really late and then be a really grumpy mum the next day, or if I'm having to get Rob to take the kids out at the weekend so I can get a deadline done or whatever. I'll have this day where I can just go boom, 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 and do loads, and hopefully just balance our life out a little bit better and be a bit happier. And then I'm hoping to just put the kids in, not their usual 7:45 till 6, because that's a very long day. Just put them in school hours that day, so we'll have a nice lie-in together, we'll have breakfast together, and then I'll have sort of afternoon with them and I can cook them tea and just have another sort of kind of half day with them. And then, to be honest, I think a lot of the time, because other friends are free that day, I'll probably end up taking them out of nursery anyway and just going and seeing friends with them. But it just gives me that choice and that little bit of breathing space. And again, I cannot thank where I work enough, because I know this sort of situation is not made available to everyone, and that's a really sad situation. And I'm very, very aware of Mother Pucka's flex appeal, and I'm so on board with that, and I think it's amazing, and she's doing an amazing job just like chatting about it and getting it out there and making it people very, very aware how many women are discriminated against every sort of time they get pregnant, I guess, and whatever. So I'm in a very, very lucky situation at this moment in time. Fingers crossed it continues. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say really. It was just to throw my thoughts out there about going back to work again, and to hopefully, if you've got an experience that's very similar, make you not feel alone, or just open up a dialogue, tell me how you're feeling, if you're going back to work or if you're not going back to work. Let me know and I'll be like, yay, go you. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. This is really rambly on butter, sorry. Don't forget to subscribe if you like to listen to me ramble a little bit more, and we'll see you very soon again. Bye.